I am so excited to talk to you guys today. Many of you may know I'm somebody that follows politics really, really closely, and this is not a political video, but it is the kind of thing that we can learn uniquely from politics and from the public lives led by so many of our politicians. And today we're going to talk about Joe Biden's net worth. Now, tonight is the big debate. This is the stage with people that polled much better. Last night was Elizabeth Warren was kind of the main character, one of the main contenders in that debate. Tonight, Joe Biden is on the line to see how he does against these 10 other competitors. It's a very crowded Democratic field for this upcoming 2020 presidential election. But one thing that's come up a lot recently is Joe Biden's net worth. And many people are talking about it like it's too high or whatever assessments people make about it. We're going to take a very different look at this. But for just a moment, let's go in and look at the facts together so that you can see what his net worth is reported to be right now, what his income looks like, and then we'll land on what we can all learn from it. So let's jump into the article. So here we are. This is on thestreet.com and Joe Biden's net worth. This article was written very, very recently. And in 2019, according to Celebrity Net Worth, Joe Biden's net worth is $1.5 million in 2019. His salary as vice president was $230,000, and some reports suggest his pension is worth $248,000 a year. In addition, Biden is reported to make an estimated $100,000 per speaking engagement. And in addition to his pensions and former salaries, Biden reportedly signed a book deal with Flatiron Books to the tune of $8 million. Now, what I'd want all of us to think about is like, okay, $1.5 million, not bad. But here's the problem with looking at it only as $1.5 million. We've talked on the podcast before. If you're not a subscriber to the podcast, go wherever you get your podcast and subscribe. Your business, your wealth. But we talk over and over again about the importance of the 4% distribution rule. And if you're distributing 4%, that gives you the greatest likelihood of being able to have your assets continue to last over time, despite the fact that portfolios go up and down over time. So what would that mean? Even if $1.5 million is 100% Joe Biden's investments, that would give him a $60,000 a year income. Nowhere near what it takes to replace the kind of income he was making while working, even if he remains retired and doesn't end up in the White House. So consider this. He was also quoted as saying in 2014, "I do not own a single stock or bond. I have no savings accounts, but I've got a great pension, a great salary. I've been really fortunate." Now, he has been very fortunate. He has lived a storied life as one of the most successful politicians in our country, meaning he has been in the Senate since the 1970s, grew his career there, which you can't get away from the fact that as an incumbent senator, people are constantly going to work to knock you off of your perch, and then landed as vice president as a capstone on his career thus far. And in the midst of all of those income earning opportunities, including those that he's had since leaving office, he's only accumulated $1.5 million of net worth. That $1.5 million of net worth would not come near replacing the income he had if not for these pensions. Now, to put in reality, those pensions, if the number reported is accurate by the street of $248,000 a year, is the equivalent amount of income of having about $6 million of capital at work. It is no joke. But here's the thing I want us to consider. He's now had this amazing life as a senator, amazing life as vice president. And yet when it comes to legacy, what he's going to be leaving his family are his actions. But he won't be leaving them much in the way of assets, not much to give them a leg up or a legacy for his grandkids beyond his own accomplishments. Now, let's go a little bit further. This is a quick link to that grounding on the Flatiron book deal from publishersweekly.com. But let's just jump back over to look at Biden's tax returns. So how much money has he been making over time? A review of his previous tax returns, this is from the Washington Post, of his previous tax returns show the Biden's adjusted gross income of $215,000 in 1998. The first year he's made available. It remained in that neighborhood until 2009, when he picked up about $55,000 annually in Social Security and pensions. Now, For one, we can notice one thing. He's collecting Social Security. For one day, many of us, that is likely going to be a continual increase of means testing so that when you have other income, you may not be qualifying for Social Security in the future. But right now, Joe Biden has that. The tax returns showed, so I'm all the way down here, tax returns showed that they had almost no investment income, and they often reported few charitable contributions. For the 10 years preceding 2008, they donated an average of $369 to charity, or 0.1% of their adjusted gross income. The total increased when Biden served as vice president with donations of book proceeds to charity, clothing to Goodwill, and other contributions. So the financial disclosures include his net worth, home, etc. But back in 2015, his net worth, it shows, was impacted by refinancing. It says 2015 forms he had taken out a mortgage, so not refinance, took out a mortgage on his Delaware home in 2013 and owed $500,000 to $1 million on it. He took out a line of credit on the home the next year and owed $250,000 to $500,000 in addition to the mortgage. Now, here's the thing. I'm making no judgment about how Joe Biden chose to live his life. He certainly lived an amazing life, an incredible career. Here's what we can learn from this. What we can learn is that Joe Biden, like many people in their careers, he's 76 years old, amazing income and career. And I bet you if you looked at him from the outside, what would he look like? That guy's got it all handled. Couple nice cars in the driveway. He's got incredible family. He's got national notoriety. He's got a beautiful home on the water. It looks like he may actually have a couple of homes, one of which he rents right now. That's neither here nor there. It's that on the outside, so many people in our world look like Joe Biden, look like they've got a lot of capital, look like they have a lot of assets. I'm willing to bet if I would have asked anybody at the beginning of this video, what would you guess Joe Biden's net worth is? You wouldn't have said 1.5 million. I've been doing a bit of a test asking people around me in my world, and I've gotten estimates from 10 million to 100 million, never less than 10 million. People are under the impression that because you have the consumption, because you have the trappings of wealth, that means you also have a strong balance sheet. And it couldn't be further from the truth. And this is not as a result of his political leanings, charitable contributions, etc. It's just, by the looks of it, he's just lived a big life on the income that he has. And between speaking deals, pensions, income from the roles he's held as a senator and vice president, he's had a lot of income. But if you have a Joe Biden in your life, a person that spends most all of their income, a person that's not stacking money on their balance sheet for financial security, what we may not realize is we can have our spending drawn northward by the decisions of the people around us. If you made a similar amount of money and you're hanging out with Joe Biden, you're going to have a hard time keeping up. You're going to have a hard time keeping up because he's not saving anything, apparently, living all the way to the edge of his income and thereby causing more expenses for the people that might want to spend time around him, the people that are his friends and family. And all of us can be subject to the same thing. So the lesson to learn here is you cannot judge a chocolate Easter bunny by how it looks from the outside. It may be hollow. In this case, it certainly seems like the case that he has had a storied career, etc. Now, to all of our existing clients listening, here's something I want you to think about. There are people in your life right now that you think, they could probably benefit from hearing from Sound Financial Group, from hearing from one of their advisors, or hearing from Paul directly. But you know what? That person, they've got their stuff so together, there is no way they don't have an advisor. Well, here's a great example. One of the most famous people in our country right now, literally, as of 2014, didn't have a stock or a bond. And apparently his primary assets are just equity within homes that he owns, but certainly hasn't built a plan for legacy, a plan for financial security beyond his current income and occupations, because if he has this pension and he's earning all this outsized income from speaking engagements and from, he may very well end up in the White House again, And if you have all that extra income, you're spending all of it because it's not landing on your balance sheet in the terms of net worth. Odds are he doesn't have any capacity to build up any more assets because of the lifestyle addiction that comes along with these high social pressure occupations. So with that, I hope that's helpful to all of you. Take away from this that we have to watch how the consumption of others affects us. We need to watch out for the Joe Biden in our lives. And if you can't identify who the Joe Biden is in your life, you may want to take a look and see if it's you. We'll see you on the next episode of Your Business, Your Wealth. And we hope this has been a contribution to you being able to design and build a good life.